Let's come in studio, and you would recall that the latter part of last week we mentioned that the month of April has been dubbed the Autism Month, or the month set aside to celebrate or to mark autism globally. And the specific date in the month is the 2nd of April, which fell on Saturday. And Ghana also marked that day. And we have been joined in studio by Matilda Abrokwa. She is the Autism Awareness she's the coordinator of the Autism Awareness Care and Training Center. We're going to be talking about autism, what causes autism, how to detect it, and what you should do as a parent. And then also we'll find out in such institutions which are normally private, what do they take the children through to help them, whilst they have been detected as autistic. And we would also expand the discussion to look at the fact that there's huge superstition surrounding autism or children that are said to be autistic, and how do we dispel some of these rumors or superstitious beliefs which has seen some national character. All right, so good morning to you, Matilda.
Good morning.
And good to have you join us in the studio. To start with, quite a number I thought I was the only one, but quite a number of people are still unsure what autism is. Can you help us at least define it and help us see if we can tell if someone is autistic?
Okay, so autism is a developmental disorder that affects a person in the areas of communication, social interaction, and then imaginative thinking. So a person who has autism may have difficulty socializing with people, and then also have difficulty in communicating, in the sense that some people who have autism do not have speech, means that they are not able to talk. And so we have what we call the picture exchange communication system, which we use a lot, contains pictures. And this is used to communicate with someone who has autism. And then some of the signs of autism and that, when a mother has a child, usually the child is expected to walk, talk, and then do other things. But you realize that the child doesn't make eye contact. They are not able to point at things. They don't like to play with, or maybe even if they like to play, they play with a particular thing. So we have what we call the repetitive behavior. They like to do one particular thing all the time. Yes, over and over again. So these are things that mothers should look out for and then get attention of the doctor.
Some of these signs you've mentioned, playing with a particular thing over and over and over repetitively, isolating themselves as a child, and all of that. Is it all of it that shows that a child is autistic?
Most of it.
Most of it?
Yes, most of it shows that a child is autistic, because it's a wide spectrum, and then if you see one child with autism, he's totally different from the other child. Okay. So if you're looking at one child to say that, oh, maybe because this child is behaving this way, my child may have autism, you may be getting it wrong. Yes.
Okay. And at what age can you start telling that a child has these symptoms?
From the age of 6 months, and then the 12th month, of course, and 2 years.
Because around that age, you can tell that speech may not have been developed. 6 months going to 8 months, they may now be learning to abba, their words are very few. But if speech, because I know some people who are okay,
delayed speech,
yes,
have
delayed speech, also because they were single. It was a single child who didn't have children around to play with, so it took time for the child to develop their speech. So these symptoms, how often should they repeat themselves for you to tell that, no, this child needs special care?
Actually, as a child grows or develops, when the child is 2 years and then
maximum
2 years, okay, then you should be concerned. You should just get the attention of a doctor.
Okay.
Which is very
Do we know the causes of these symptoms in children?
There is no known cause for autism. No one knows what causes autism as we speak. But there have been, researchers have come up with factors that may contribute or lead to a mother having a child who has autism. So we look at the environmental factor, where pollution is a problem. If a mother is pregnant and then she's exposed to all these fumes, there's a possibility that she may have a child who has autism. And also we have the genetic factor. So if a couple has a child who has autism already, there's a high possibility that they may have another child who has autism. Yes.
And if a father or a mother is autistic or has autism, is it hereditary? Is it possible that a parent who probably had it while growing up could transfer it to their child?
That is possible.
It is possible?
That is possible. When a parent has traits of autism, it's possible that the child may.
Okay. I'm sure if we have fair knowledge of what the causes may be doing, are there clear treatments of it, or things that we can use as treatment for children with autism?
Well, at the moment, there's no medical test to diagnose autism, but a trained physician or a psychologist can. We have what we call the autism-specific evaluation. So they can. We have what we call the assessment. So we go back into the history of when the mother was pregnant or when the child was developing, and then you can tell that based on that evaluation or the assessment, you can tell that this child has autism. But there's no medical test at the moment. Yes.
Some would want to know. We know that children with Down syndrome, have quite a few positives. They are very smart, intelligent, and all of that. Are there any positives at all when it comes to autism?
Exactly. There are many positives when it comes to autism.
Many?
Yes. My boss has a son who is autistic, and then he's 33 years now. 33? Yes. He works at Inclusion Ghana, where he does data entry, and also at a printing press. Yes. So they are highly gifted. It's a wide spectrum. So we have those who have the severe and then, the mild. So definitely they are doing great. When you come to our center, for instance, you see some of the kids and you see they are doing great works. All these things were made by the children. Really? Yes. So we have artworks. We are having an exhibition. So when you come to the center, you definitely know what they are able to do. Yes.
Is it a particular thing that helps them, break out of the... how did they get out of it as a child? What kind of training do you give them to let them break out of this type of reaction that gets people to think that, no, these people, they are not normal?
That's when training comes in, early intervention, and then you receive training. We provide training for the children because a child with autism may have behavior challenges. So they may be throwing tantrums and people will think that they are indisciplined or misbehaving. But at the center, we focus more on behavior management because we believe that if you're able to behave, then you can learn. So we train these children and then we prepare them for society.
You have been in this for quite a number of years now. What is the state of autism in Ghana, if you're asked?
Because autism is not a physical disability, so there's nothing on the person to show that this person has autism. People tend to associate it with spiritual causes, and they think that the child is possessed, or maybe parents have done something, and that's as a result why they have a child like that. So we tend to focus more on the spiritual aspect, and this part of society doesn't really help us much because people don't even want to accept that autism is a disability because there's nothing to show, and then the child is just misbehaving and that's it. But when you go to the churches, they feel that the child is possessed or has a spiritual problem. So they tend to sort of get the demon out of the child, which is wrong. Yes.
And that brings me to the question of superstition. Clearly, we, even here at TV3, we've had people call in to report mistreatment of children who they think are autistic, but the parent of that child or people in that community think that the child is possessed. How often do you get some of these reports?
Very often, quite often, because we had a woman at the center some months back, and then apparently she had been told by a spiritual person that the child had been sent to torment her life, so they had to send the child in the forest somewhere and then just,
This is modern Ghana.
Yes, this is modern Ghana. So it happens a lot, and we get referrals every day. Yes.
Okay. Now, as part of the Autism Awareness Care and Training Center, your duties, do you also go out to educate people, let them know that when you detect these signs and symptoms in a child, seek medical attention immediately? Is it part of your mandate? Do you do that?
Yes, we do. We speak to the churches and then schools, institutions. We have some institutions who even come to our center for training, so we can train their staff. So they will have a fair knowledge of what autism is and how to relate to the people who have autism in society.
Is it difficult to handle children like that? Is it like very time consuming? Is it strenuous?
It's not strenuous, but I think they establish lines of communication. So if you are able to really understand what they are trying to communicate, then it wouldn't be a problem working with them. Yeah.
Because I mean, if some of the symptoms that you've mentioned, at a certain point they easily get agitated, they, throw tantrums and all of that. And if you are a parent or a teacher and you have to deal with this for God knows how many years, at a point you get frustrated. Do you get to that point sometimes?
It's difficult because you also feel for the child. There are times when we have what we call the self-injurious behavior. They hurt themselves. A child will bite him or herself because they want something or they're trying to communicate something you are not getting. Yes, so it's all about being able to understand or knowing what the child wants at a particular time and then being able to provide it or resolve the issue.
Okay, now let's take it to a normal home, a normal family home. When a child is autistic, what kind of advice do you give parents with children who have autism?
First advice would be to look for the appropriate support. There are places you can go to for support now. They shouldn't hide their children. They should just bring them out to society. And then also, we advise friends of couples or parents not to shun them and then accept them, because sometimes autism is not contagious. People think that, even if there's a couple who has a child who has autism and we are friends with them, our child also. They advise their children not to go, don't go to this house, don't play with these children and all that, which is wrong. So we should try to embrace them, and then there's something good out there.
Okay, and if a parent is having clear challenges and they bring them to the school, what does the school, what happens in the school to ensure that at least the kids are given the training and then taken through the process of helping them, acclimatize to what we might term normalcy?
So we are a local support and education center, and then we provide training, parent training, as well as caregiver training. So we train caregivers, we train parents, so that even at home they'll be able to follow through what has been taught in school with their children.
Okay.
Yes.
Now we know that also there have been discussions severally about education in general for children with special needs, and now we are told that now some of these children with either Down syndrome or autism have to join children age mates in the same classroom. That debate took a number of us by surprise, because if clearly you know that these people have special needs, they need special attention and care, and there are those who are quote-unquote normal who do not need those, why would you lump all of them together in one classroom? What is your take on this, and you think it's a step in the right direction?
I think it's very important. We run inclusion programs at our center where we send the children to mainstream schools where the aim is not for academic goals but for social interaction.
Because it's not for academic goals.
Yes, but for social interaction, because they have issues with socializing. And then if you are trying to talk about stigmatization, and then we don't send them to regular schools where we have an all-inclusive education. As we go, when a child has a friend who has autism, there's really not that stigmatization, but as we grow and become adults, we know that, this person is this and all that. So we believe that it's important to just set that foundation from the very early, right from the onset, so that it helps the children as they grow to also help accept children who have autism. And
how has the reception been from those? How do they receive their colleagues who we may say are normal, and then how vice versa? How has the reception been?
It's been great.
Yeah?
Yes, it's been great, because what we do first is we train the teachers in the mainstream school on how to work with a child who has autism. So they have a fair idea what autism is. They are well informed. And then the children also get to work with them well when they join them in the mainstream school.
And what would you say are some of the challenges for your institution, and then also for people who, caregivers, for instance, when they are dealing with children with autism? What has been the major challenge for you?
Oh, well, for the caregivers, I must say that maybe some of the challenges is when you expect too much of the child to get to a certain milestone. You expect them to do this within this time.
Mm-hmm.
But for a child who has autism, it takes a lot of time and effort to be able to put ideas together. So sometimes you may think the child is not doing well or progressing, or maybe, what is even coming out of this child? But it needs a lot of time. So that may be a challenge, but they should just continue with the good work they're doing. And also a challenge for our institution right now at the moment is we are limited by space because we get referrals. You're not able to admit children who are 20 and above because we don't have the space. So
you mean 20 years and above?
Yes, 20 years. 20 years, yes. We admit from 3 to 20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we just want to tell the general public, if anyone is out there listening to us and they want to support, it would be great.
But do you get support in other forms, not only in terms of personal, but do you have maybe people who give financial aid, materials that you need to help the children learn and train and all? Do you get these things, and how regularly do they come?
Yes, we do receive international volunteers. So from time to time they help us with educational material, because most of these things you will not find in Ghana. And even if you find them, they are very expensive. So when they come to volunteer and they go back, they see the needs of the center, and then they are able to support us.
And, in cases of extreme autism, what do you do as a trained personnel when someone has extreme forms of the ailment? What do you do? Do you restrain the person, maybe tie them down, or give them an injection to dull their senses? What do you do?
When a child has a meltdown, okay, what we do is you find an activity the child loves, maybe washing of napkins, and then you engage them. You engage them, and in some cases you just leave them to sit still until they are calm. Okay.
That would mean that you, the caregiver, and you, the person who is supposed to take care of this, you do not have a life of your own. Again, if I'm not too far from what it is, you really would have to give 110% of your attention to the child.
Yes, our system is one-on-one, so a child to a carer at the center.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. I'm being carried away by some of the information you're giving, but I think that we have progressed in the last few years as compared to a few years back. I mean, it was the issues of superstition and a child being thrown in what we call the evil forest and all of that were quite rampant. Now we are told it has gone down quite drastically. What else can we do to better this news going out, and then also letting parents know that children who have autism are not evil spirits?
Awareness, more and more awareness in our churches, in our schools, in our health institutions, everywhere. It's very important.
Awareness creation.
Yeah, awareness creation.
Okay, all right. So we wish you all the best, and thank you for the education. We've been speaking with Matilda Abuakwa. She is the coordinator, Autism Awareness Care and Training Center. And well, so for those of you who did not know what autism is, I'm sure that you've gotten some education. And please, let's grow out of these superstitious beliefs that if a child is with autism, then they've been sent to torment you. Really? All right. So thank you very much once again. And
Thank you for having me.
we are calling for assistance for the school as well. So if you have any form of assistance, they want bigger spaces so they can accommodate people who they can help. They are helping. So if you have the space you can give to them, do contact them. Where can you be located? Where's your school located? We are in
Kokomlimli. We are behind Joy FM, and then they can reach us on 030-224-729.
Again?
0302-224-729. Yes.
All right. So do give them a call, and if you have any assistance, do let them have it. Thank you once again. This is New Day on TV3.